guys, Tivo2 here, back with another episode of my TARDIS tutorial. Today is a sort of complex feature that has been long in the making, and right now I feel it's good enough to show off. Still not perfect, but I'll be sure to update you all anytime I do anything more with this. But yeah, today I am on a completely different world. I have not even implemented this into the main TARDIS world yet. This is a precise coordinate travel system, so I wanted to add something like that so that you could just go to precise coordinates instead of just set locations. And it took me a while to figure that out, but I've done it. And so here is basically the basics of my system right now, and like I said, I'll update you as I improve it. It's simpler than it looks. So I have some controls here. The lever does nothing, actually. So you really just need these three right here, controls. So just make yourself a button and another button and a repeater. So one button will control the TARDIS going on a positive axis, the other a negative axis, and the repeater actually switches between the different axes, or however you say that. Yeah, the X, Y, Z, that thing, and then you'll move about 10 blocks, I think, positive or negative direction each time you press one of these buttons. And just to show you that in action, let's say we select a different axis, so the X axis, sure, and then we press positive. So yeah, 10 blocks in the positive X axis, and if we wanted to move it back, we just press the negative button. There's the TARDIS, and then we can do positive, negative, as many times as we want. And the nice thing about this is I've also figured out how to make it kind of load chunks as it goes, so the TARDIS won't like despawn or lose contact with the command blocks or anything, because it constantly loads chunks as it goes along. And like I said, this system is imperfect. One thing I haven't figured out is how to then remove those chunks as you go along, so that it, you know, creates one, then removes one, creates one, removes it, so that you're not just building up lag, because that's what happened while I was testing this. I made this travel really far distance just to test that it was still loaded in, and it actually started to lag my computer a bit. But yeah, we can also travel, you know, on the X-axis, and we just went down, so it's down there. You can go back up, you can go up again, but I don't have gravity turned off, so it's just kind of falling. And then obviously the Z-axis, and then it has like one position that just kind of does nothing, so I have to click it again to get it to the X. But anyway, you get my point. It's a fairly compact system. I could have done all this with like 5 times as many buttons, but I tried to keep it compact, so I made the repeater to switch between the axes. So this is the axis controls. So basically it'll say, it's just executing if the repeater is on a certain delay, 2, 3, 4, and if so, what will it do? It'll say what axis it's on, and it'll also teleport okay, so over here I have these two armor stands, axis cycle and negative axis, and they'll basically cycle between these three areas, and basically that's all these do. They just cycle both those command blocks. They cycle simultaneously between the 3 command block pairs. And what do the command block pairs do? Well, this is for the positive one, which is called axis cycle, and so when it's on these, it'll activate this command block, which, you know, is in needs redstone, but it's also in repeat. And this is searching for if the stone button for the positive axis is pressed, and if so, if the button is pressed while this axis, which I'm assuming is X, is selected, then it'll execute out the TARDIS. It will TP the TARDIS 10 blocks on the X-axis. So yeah, that's how that works. And then it'll also do execute out the TARDIS, run force load add, and add a force load. And so yeah, when you change the repeater mode, it just searches for a different one of these, and it will move the both armor stands across, and this one, the negative one, it's exactly the same thing pretty much. Just looking for the other button for the negative axis and teleporting the TARDIS in the negative direction. But all of them add the same force load commands, which literally just loads the chunk around the TARDIS as it goes along, which obviously is really useful in not letting it despawn, but also, like I said, it builds up a lot of force loads over time. So for example, if we do this force load query, it'll show all the different loaded chunks, and there's 3 of them at the moment. There will be more as we teleport the TARDIS around, undoubtedly, which is a bit of a problem. So like if we just start teleporting it around, you know, now we go on the x-axis, a couple different directions, and then, well, yeah, that was the x-axis, and then go, we won't do anything on the y, that's weird. Anyway, we just go, I don't know where the frick the TARDIS went, but point is, force load query, there's an absolute load of them now, so point is that, oh, there's the TARDIS. At some point, we are definitely going to have to just add in a command. I don't think it, well, no, it definitely matters when you do the command, but at some point you need a command just to make the TARDIS remove all those force loads that it's added, because eventually you're going to get a lot of lag. And so, yeah, one problem with that is obviously in a previous episode, I don't remember which one, I think episode 5, I said that you needed to force load the TARDIS interior and each set location that you go to, and that is still the case. So if it has to remove all of them, then what am I going to do about that? Well, basically just put a repeating command block hidden somewhere at each place and in the TARDIS. Basically just saying force load add tilde tilde on always active, and then basically it will always force load those locations. So like for example, let's just say one of your TARDIS locations was, I don't know, over here, and you have to make sure it's always loaded in, obviously, so you just hide that like underneath the sand at each location. So yeah, you get my point. Basically, it'll always load in, just so that it doesn't get unloaded when the TARDIS unloads each chunk, but you do need to do that. I'm thinking like maybe when it materializes, or maybe not materializes, dematerializes. See, like, I don't even know when I want to add that in, but like, I don't know. If you're not bothered about the excessive lag, then I guess it doesn't matter. Whether you like delete all those force loads or not, but as you saw, there's 11 now. Wow. Yeah, that's gonna get laggy eventually if you just keep traveling around without unloading each of these chunks. And like I said, it's definitely a necessity for you to load them in the first place, or else pretty quickly your TARDIS is just gonna despawn if you go really much of any distance from where you currently were. That was basically my extremely basic proof of concept of a TARDIS coordinate travel system. Yeah, work in progress. Like I said, I will update you all on this. Leave any questions you have, and I will try to answer them. Another thing I wanted to add to it eventually was add like a scoreboard on the side of the screen that basically told you where the TARDIS is at any given time. Unfortunately, I'm just not familiar with scoreboards, but that would be very cool. Or even better, like on a sign to make it like integrated into the TARDIS. That would be pretty awesome. To have a sign just telling you where it is, and you can see it obviously move as you press the buttons. That would be very neat. But for now, this is what I have. I'll update you guys on any other things, like, for example, that coordinate tracker. Basically, you know, as I come up with them, but for now, this is the system I've come up with. Feel free to implement this into your own TARDIS. I'll eventually add it into the actual one to obviously update the map eventually, but Yeah, that's really all I've got for the moment. I have been Tebow2. Be sure to subscribe, to follow my Instagram, Tebow2YT, my Twitter, which is also Tebow2YT, and to join my Discord. I keep forgetting to mention my Discord, but yeah, I haven't had any new members in a while, and that would be awesome, because I have some pretty cool and talented TARDIS builders on there, and it's going to be pretty awesome to see some more people join that. So, yeah, that is all. I have been Tebow2. Goodbye.